Josh, welcome to the Stocky Talk YouTube channel.
Thanks, man.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
So, what's new and exciting? You just got back from vacation, I heard.
Yeah, I'm tan right now. New and exciting. Depends on how far you want to go back. I just took the leap from my full-time safe job to pursue a business that I was developing on the side while I was at the full-time job. Made the leap in April. It was kind of forced, kind of mutual. Kind of scary. I can get into the whole story if you want to, or we can kind of keep it short.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Let's dig in. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, so the full story is, it is, just for, in case you view this later, today's June 21st, mid-April. I worked at a big flooring company nearby, and mid-April they called me in the office. They were like, hey, bring your stuff, meet with HR, and I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
And it was something that you kind of alluded to this prior to this, to the camera going on, where you can kind of feel something's in the air, right? I could feel that way before I got that phone call, where I was feeling like I was headed in a direction that was completely polar opposite of the company. Mm-hmm. And my actions, my emotions, my thoughts, my daily behaviors were all representative of that new direction I was picking. So I knew it was only a matter of time, based on that logic, that we were going to separate. I just didn't know when. I was actually planning for it to take place in July, because as I was building the business, I was hoping that these two ships would essentially pass each other.
Right.
Where I would feed one or build one up, which would be my business, and would eventually pass Armstrong at the perfect time. I thought that time would be in July, and it just happened to be in April. So they called me in and they were like, hey, what's up? And I was like, I don't know, you guys tell me. Like,
well, what is up?
Yeah, what's up? And I'm a practical dude. Like, I'm not emotional. I'm very cut to the chase. I mean, I would imagine you are as well. So when they were like beating around the bush, they were kind of, it kind of came at me a little cowardly. So after about 5 minutes of beating around the bush, I was like, hey, what are we doing here? Like, do I have a job or no?
Yeah, what's the purpose of this meeting, which you called and requested my presence at? For sure,
immediately. They were like, hey, bring your stuff, come here immediately. I was like, what are we doing here? And they got offended by my honesty. And that was another, like, oh yeah, I don't care what happens in this meeting. Like, I don't need to be around these people anymore.
Whatever happens is going to end up for the best anyway.
It's okay. There was a lot of stuff mounting. But
don't want me to spill the ending for you, but it's all going to be okay.
For sure, yeah, for sure. So I was like, hey man, what are we doing? Do I have a job tomorrow? And they were like, whoa. Well, since you skipped ahead, we were going to get to that. You're under official review by HR.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, what does that mean? They're like, well, we're going to do an investigation. You're suspended until we can call you. And that was like a Wednesday, and I was like, when are you going to call me? They're like, Friday. I was like, okay, cool. And they were kind of shocked at my
nonchalance, just almost
lack of emotion, I should say.
Surfer dude, just kind of riding the wave.
Yeah, because even as I was walking to the meeting, it's a long walk from my office to that meeting room, I was preparing myself, and I don't know if it was subconsciously or consciously or both. I was suppressing emotion for productivity's sake. So as I'm making the walk, the walk of doom or whatever, I'm preparing myself like, hey man, whatever happens, do not get emotional. You need to focus on solutions, not problems.
Yeah.
So I knew that there was a perceived problem coming, but reading books like The Obstacle Is the Way, 7 Habits, all these kind of things, I've been preparing for this. So at that point, I was like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Right.
Let's do this. I'm ready for this scary feeling and to conquer this challenge, because I've been preparing myself for the past 3 years since I had an epiphany for these kinds of moments, for these moments of challenge, for these moments to overcome and to grow. And long story short, I mean, since then my business has fully replaced my previous salary. I'm a mechanical engineer, by the way.
Right.
So I make a decent salary, and the business took off.
And it's been 2 months.
It's been 2 months, yeah.
And you were working on that on the side.
I was working on the side in the evenings.
And growing it is your side hustle.
For sure.
You were doing, everything you could possibly do to make the dream a reality, and sort of reality meets the dream, and you're prepared because you've already done all the foresight, all the planning, all the preparation. And, what some people can look at as unfortunate circumstances, actually just luck. in a way, it's not bad luck. It's just, hey, here's a change in circumstance kind of luck.
For sure.
And when you're prepared for such a thing, as you know, I can't wait to learn more about, but things start to sort of fall in place. I know exactly that same walk, the walk of doom, if you will.
For sure.
I made that before other companies where I was working at a startup for probably 60 hours a week, every week, just grinding my face off as a young,
first job?
Second job. So my first job at a college, was doing digital marketing, went really well, had a lot of successes, but I started getting recruited, and I thought that, oh man, if I want to move up the corporate ladder, I gotta go chase this opportunity that's really exciting and not stay at this company necessarily, because I'm kind of, whenever I feel complacent or comfortable, I need to seek something else. Because comfort is not where I'm going to ever achieve a goal or grow.
Where does that come from?
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
It comes probably from my experience as an athlete. So, for example, I've been doing martial arts since 7 years old.
Yeah.
So, I always, even doing Tang Sudo and Lidditz, would go against kids that were 3 years older than me and get my butt kicked, and then do well in competitions because I'm used to tougher people in the practice room. In wrestling, it was, okay, win leagues in 6th grade, win leagues in 9th grade, and get third at leagues in 12th grade. So whenever I'm, the senior person, I'm doing quite well. But it's always chasing a productive loss in off season, and then going after practice partners that can kick my butt, and traveling for really tough, Tuesdays and Thursdays, going to different counties, going to Blue Mountain, going to Berks. So I look at that as the only way I know to be successful is to lose in practice, is to bleed in training, is to be really challenged so that it's not a walk in the park.
Are you utilizing that method of always find the hardest roles, always find the hardest training partners every time, or is it ebbs and flows? So
what I'm doing now is largely influenced by a lot of the research and just not being a spring chicken, 29 years old. Not saying that's old by any means, but I'm thinking, okay, how can I make the most out of my 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week? My goal now is to train 7 jiu-jitsu sessions in a week, whether that's take off a day and then do 2 in another day. And I'm trying to do 35 rolls. So 5 rolls, on average, 5 rolls per session. Okay. Like earlier this morning, I did 0 rolls. Today I did 9. Yeah. And my goal is just that consistency, pressure over time. Sure. And exploring and trying new things. Because for me, I've lost 30 pounds. I walked into the doctor's right around Valentine's Day. I think it was February 6th. And I was 228 on their scale. Dang, how tall are you? 5'8". Dang! On a good day. On a Saturday night, I'm 5'8". Thick with 2 C's. And I am just thicker than a Snicker on brown liquor. And the doctor's like, you're going to get diabetes if you don't change. And that, to me, was a shock, because I was a Division III college wrestler that wrestled at 149. The coach wanted to go 141. So that's almost 100. That's probably... Math isn't my strong suit, but that's 80 pounds more than I wrestled at in college. Sure. That's a huge jump. And I fought in a cage. That one hit you? The diabetes thing was rough, because I'm like, bro, I got paid to be an athlete in 2016. That's right. That's right. I fought at 155 in August 2016. You're shredded too, with the mohawk. Yeah. Or the mohawk or something. Something like that. Yeah. It was some Viking haircut I tried to pull off. But I just thought the same principle applied, and I get this from Ross Stockdale and John Donaher, and it's a concept that also goes with project management, which is what I did in a past life, which is Kaizen, which is just daily constant improvement. 1% every 1% better every single day, and it's just how can I make sure that I do constant improvement and not do. One of the thought experiments was if someone does 3 training sessions in a week, and 10 rounds in each training session, they'll do 30 rounds at the end of the week. Yep. But they'll only have trained for, call it, 5 hours. Yeah. But if you do 7 training sessions and 5 per week, you've done 35 rounds, and you train for, call it, 12 hours. I don't know there'd be math involved. 12 hours. Yeah. we just got done training, so my math isn't too sharp. So you can effectively reduce your chances of injury, increase your net time spent improving, and also be more fresh for each roll, and it becomes addicting.
Consistency over intensity. Yeah.
Consistency over intensity. And now, I also spend a lot of time doing. I firmly believe that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And like, there's no.
It's so corny, but it's real.
And the people that are really good at things, like, their work is their play, and their play is their work.
That's the only way to truly seek mastery or to achieve it. I think.
Right.
I think that's the only way. Unless you're some savage who can just suppress all your wants and needs and just kind of.
I'm not a robot. No, I like the whole bring your whole self to work. Well, just be your whole self all the time. That's the goal.
For sure. Yeah.
So.
That's actually a big reason for my journey, right? So you read Simon Sinek or listen to Tony Robbins or Ed Mylett or any of these guys, they always talk about like finding your why.
Yeah.
And using that. And I'm a practical dude, right? So if you tell me find your why, I'm gonna ask follow-up questions because that just sounds like some fluffy BS, honestly. But really what that means is finding your why is finding the purpose for pursuing and achieving a goal, and it serves as fuel then. And it's the thing that's going to carry you through. It's the thing that's going to carry you through all the ups and the downs, and there's going to be downs. I mean,
there's a quote that's also cheesy, and I also like, called "If you know your why, you can endure almost any how."
100%.
So.
100%. And I would encourage anyone, and I'm like Tony Robbins light right now because this was such bullshit for me my entire. Sorry, can I?
Go
drop
ahead.
An S-bomb?
Whatever you want.
This is such bullshit for me my entire life because I grew up with two older brothers that were cool. They were fascinated with cool. And anything that I pursued that was like of like a core interest to me, they were like, it's corny. So anything like this, I was kind of already programmed growing up, like, that's corny. Like,
right.
You win or you learn, it's corny.
Yeah.
Right? So I shunned that off, had a great childhood. And then once adulthood came and I graduated college and got married and had all this debt and was at a cubicle, I was like, yo.
This is corny. What's corny? This is corny.
This shit is whack.
Right.
And that was that was my rock bottom, and thank God I have a shallow rock bottom. Some people have a really deep one, and I'm sorry guys, you shouldn't have one that's that deep. You should try to make it as shallow as possible so that those epiphanies and those life-changing moments are more readily accessible, and you don't have to resort to changing your sexuality and hanging out on the streets, smoking crack rocks or whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever it is that whatever their poison is once you hit rock bottom. Some people either accelerate and just try and break through the rock bottom, or they, kind of crawl and try to pull themselves up. I think the number one thing to do if you're digging a hole is to quit digging.
For sure.
So whatever it is that's
just
making
stop.
you upset, like for the longest. Okay, so I'll make a reference to what I was doing when I was gaining weight. I was stress eating. I was not taking care of my health. I was smoking cigarettes. I was eating sugar. I was drinking beer, like socially.
It's a vicious cycle right there, man.
And the easiest way to lose weight is to stop doing bad things.
Yeah.
Those things in excess.
Yeah.
So don't, and it's crazy. And the same thing really applies financially.
Sure.
Too. So 2 years ago, bought a house. But before that, I'm like, dude, I'm broke. Like, broker than broke. Like, don't overdraft my checking account, broke. Like, a little bit over 2 years ago. And the number one thing I did was just get an Excel spreadsheet and say, okay, where does all my money go in a month?
Yeah. Yep.
Just what's
awareness?
Audit, yeah.
Let's do some basic awareness.
Audit. Where, and now I'm not a stress.
For sure.
Once you become aware of something... Yeah. I honestly believe that once people are aware that they're making a mistake, they won't willfully continue to do it. You need to be fully aware of it, though. Because I think a lot of people...
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Because...
Tell me more.
Just what you're referring to is just knowledge. knowledge isn't power. Knowledge that is acted upon is power. So if you were just aware of the knowledge that you are an alcoholic or addicted to food or whatever the heck it is, whatever your vice is, I don't think that empowers you to do anything. And I know that for sure, at least in some cases, because my dad is an alcoholic and he knows. Like, we'll talk about it. But that's not enough to make him... He hasn't hit rock bottom. Right. His wife hasn't left him. His rock bottom is pretty low. Right. And he's felt bad about himself, and he's had low energy, and his body's starting to fall apart. He's 60 now. And he knows what the root is, but he won't change it. And I think there has to be something in addition to the knowledge. I don't know what that is, though.
Well, there's got to be some motivating force. Yeah. There's got to be a force to cause action. And I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah, so what is a catalyst?
So what is the catalyst for your new business? Tell me exactly what exactly is the business that you started.
Yeah, so my business is it's called Longfellow Inspections. We simply put, we protect banks and lenders. We protect their investments, particularly regarding construction, residential construction, and commercial construction. That's in a nutshell what we do. It's a financial service for lenders and banks. I got there and then along circuitous route, but essentially when I had an epiphany about 3 years ago, I was working at an engineering firm, sitting in a cubicle, and you probably have had this experience. We may have even talked about this before, where once you're at a job that you can do and you're qualified for, after about a year and a half, 2 years, I guess it depends on your natural capacity for the job or aptitude, you kind of hit this groove where it becomes way less challenging, there's way less noise, and you're focused on the signal, and every day is efficient. At least that's how it was for me, where it was easy. And I was a project manager and managing international projects. I had like 15 at a time. I'm doing balancing all this stuff, and I was crushing it. I would finish a full 8-9 hour day in 3 hours. Right. And then just sit in my cube. And I was like, yo, what? This is not life.
Just doing this.
This is not life. Because I think one of the big things that hit me and that kind of led me towards the pivotal moment of having that epiphany was I stopped laughing. And
really?
Yeah.
That's when you knew.
I'm a silly goose.
Yeah.
Like my whole life, people first time I noticed it was in high school.
Wow.
People would point out like, dude, you're always smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why aren't you? Like, this is cool.
What's going on?
Everything's fun, right? And then I got to college, and that was the first step of like, oh, I'm laughing a little bit less.
Okay.
Because of 17, when I made the decision to go after mechanical engineering, no one at 17 I shouldn't say no one, but almost no one is equipped to make those life-altering decisions.
Sure.
When you're a teenager, you're a baby, you don't know anything. Think about how stupid you were at 17. Think about how stupid you were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So I made a decision to pursue mechanical engineering based on practicality. I was like,
you're gonna get a job.
I'm gonna get a job.
It's gonna be at least X.
It's gonna be decent.
Yeah.
And I can move around if I need to. It's a job everyone needs. So let's go do that. Mind you, I don't even like math. I can just do it.
Right.
Right? So it was the gift and the curse of like the gifted kid. Because I was one of the gifted kids who didn't have to study and just showed up on test day, aced everything, and then played sports and hung out with girls.
Yep, I can relate to that.
Got to college, you have to work on everything. And it's like, wait, I don't have a foundation that I should have had to like go after it. So now these guys who were the best of the best at their classes, were their schools, which is what I was, now I get there and everybody's good. I'm average. That was the first dip. And then there's a 5-year program, right? So over 5 years, I'm doing something I don't like every day, and it's all consuming. I started laughing a lot less, right? So I stopped.
Not so funny anymore.
Not so fun. I stopped being myself.
Yeah.
Got a job and realized, I'm surrounded by dorks that I don't relate to.
Right.
Dudes that love engineering.
Where'd you go to school?
Drexel.
Okay.
In Philly,
Yeah.
Awesome experience in Philly. Didn't enjoy the school, but then again, I didn't enjoy the program or anything like that. So
sure.
It's not necessarily a reflection on them. It's my poor choices.
So what is the biggest difference between doing inspections versus doing mechanical engineering as far as the subject matter of what you do? Like why do you enjoy doing inspections more than...
I don't enjoy doing inspections, but it's bigger than that. So I chose an adjacent space to what I was already doing because I wanted to use my skills and my experience and just quickly apply them somewhere else. Somewhere that wasn't the same space, but it was directly next to it. So I had acquired and developed skills of project management, leadership, engineering, problem solving, communication, all these different skills that I developed and worked on like a motherfucker. And after I had that epiphany, I woke up and was like, I need to look for opportunity. That's the first thing that came to me, man. And regardless, I don't know what your faith is or whatever, but I'm a Christian and we believe in the Holy Spirit. I think there was something there where, because I didn't generate that idea.
It was divine inspiration.
That's what it seemed like, man.
Yeah.
Because out of nowhere, I was sitting in that cube. To go back a little bit, I was sitting in that cube and knocked out like 10 hours of work in 4 hours and just sat there and was like, the first thought was, can I do this for the next 50 years? And immediately from my gut, it was like, no, like a big scream.
Sure.
And then the next thought was like, oh shit, what do I do then?
Right.
And then the next thought again came, this is what I think came from the Holy Spirit or somewhere, I don't know, was you have to be looking for opportunity. And that may just sound like a throwaway piece of advice or something, but for me that hit me hard because I was always a guy, I'm introverted. I do a lot of thinking. I'm highly introverted. I do a lot of thinking. I like being alone, all that stuff. I always thought I had my shit together. And I've identified from my early age that I'm good at decision making. Quick decisions that are probably 80% correct, I can make them quick.
They're good enough.
Yeah. And in developing that skill, when I overdeveloped it, I was shutting a lot of doors to potential opportunities. Because I'd say, nah, I'm comfortable here with these available doors. I'm going to close those.
Right.
So that, from the gut piece of advice of look for opportunity, I was like, oh, immediately I thought of the doors. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I'm closing too many doors, man.
Right.
So that day I was like, okay, I need to get out of here because there's no way... I'm going to skip some of the details, but there's no way I could increase my salary to start reducing some debt, which would allow me to pursue a business, all this kind of stuff. Okay, so the first step, I need to get a higher paying job, which will allow me some flexibility to look for opportunity.
Sure.
So immediately, within 3 weeks, I have a new job, and I got a $20,000 raise.
No way.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, like, this was all bullshit for me. And then, because I had that epiphany, the source of it was, the source of my changed behavior was, what I'm doing right now isn't working. It goes back to the corny thing, like, what I'm doing right now is whack. Like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
I will look for clues from people who've done it, regardless of what unsuccessful people may throw shade at me.
Right.
Like, I'm
because
not
they haven't walked your path.
For sure. And I was listening to those dorks my whole life.
Sure.
And at that point, I was like, okay, if you haven't done anything in your life, I'm not. You're done. You're out. I'm not listening to you.
Right.
I'm only seeking counsel from the graybeards, the people who've been there and done it. Right. So I started reading books, looking for mentors digitally, and I don't know what that word would be, but in books and podcasts and all those kinds of stuff.
Just thought leadership.
Yep. And
someone to help show somewhat a piece of the way.
100%.
Not the whole thing, but at least give you enough. I like to think of it as a balanced intellectual diet. Yeah. I think that your diet isn't just what you eat or drink.
Yep.
It's your environment. It's what you consume and think.
Yeah.
So by doing that, you probably, a lot of people that say, oh, you have a personalized interest or a nerdy or a geeky side to you where you're an introvert and you like to read books or watch podcasts or do things that are sort of self-improvement and learning based. Sure. Oh, that's what I think to a lot of populist ideals that's sort of labeled as whack or kind of
it's not social. It's not social.
It's antisocial. Yeah. But really, that's what makes you unique and cool. To me,
100%.
To me, that's what makes you an individual that can provide value to other people. You have a rich mental life. So
what you do privately, you get rewarded for publicly.
Right. And the only way you'll ever, in my opinion, be cool is if you're not just another cog.
Sheep.
Just another
sheeple. Yeah.
Sure. So, I always just thought about the fact that ever since I was a kid, doing martial arts and Tang Sudo, and all that, and then switching to wrestling, and then doing that was always my passion. So martial arts was always my passion, and I'm like, I don't care what anyone else thinks about this. I have this foundational principle of this is cool.
Yeah.
I don't care if other people don't like it. It's still cool to me.
It was giving you value.
It gave me intrinsic value for the last 22 years, and
nobody can shit on that.
And no one can shit on it because now it's becoming mainstream. People think it's cool and ask me questions. I'm like, oh well, it's funny because
now it's cool.
Oh, now it's cool. Yeah, I'll show you a thing or two.
Yeah.
But it's just brought the most intrinsic reward because if you don't find something like martial arts, like personal development, like
hard shit,
whatever is challenging.
That's all it is, hard.
Yeah, but if you don't have that, you're kind of boring. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Life's kind of boring.
Sure.
So
there's a reason. One of the reasons we love jiu-jitsu and love martial arts is that camaraderie.
Sure.
That camaraderie is only developed because we understand. There's mutual respect immediately when you're walking on the mats.
Right.
Because everyone at white belts, whatever, because everyone knows how hard it is.
The most impressive belt to me isn't a black belt. It's from a leather belt to a white belt. Yeah. It's deciding to step on the mat and try.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
it's a corny thing, but that's a corny saying. But again, it demands respect. Like it commands it. But yeah, back to your question about what's the difference or why do you like it doing inspections over engineering? I would say it's bigger than that. So that would be at a low level. I think to answer that question without going on like a 2-hour rant.
And we can definitely do that. But,
but to answer your question a little bit more succinctly, it's above that. It's above engineering and above inspections. Engineering is, to use an analogy, engineering is to accomplishing others' goals, as inspections is to accomplishing my own.
Okay.
It's more about that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm building this inspection business not so I can be an inspector. I have no interest in doing that long term. I'm building it so that I can. Have you ever read The E-Myth?
Josh, we're back from our brief intermission. Last we were talking, you were telling me the difference between what you enjoy and between mechanical engineering and doing inspections, and also mentioned an author, something E-Myth.
Yes, correct? Yeah. So the book is The E-Myth. It's by Michael Gerber.
Okay.
Again, to reiterate the question was, what do you like about inspections that you didn't like about mechanical engineering? And it's, like I said, it's not about those subjects. It's bigger than that. It's about pursuing my goals over pursuing somebody else's, which is essentially what you were doing if you agree to go the standard route of high school, college, working at a corporation, get a pension or a 401k, and then retire. If you want to do that, that's cool. That's just not me. And you should at least acknowledge that your purpose, at least in a career sense, is just to accomplish the goals of somebody else. That's inarguable, right?
Sure. You can either work on... I'm going to keep doing these corny phrases because that's how I remember things.
They work, son.
They're on point. You can either invest in somebody else's dream or invest in making your own dream.
100%. Yeah. So one of the investments I made was buying the E-Myth, which was recommended to me by the smartest guy I've ever met. He's a friend of mine named Matthew Gladhill. I'll give him a quick plug. His business is called Entirely Effective. It's a small business consulting firm. He's a brilliant man. But he recommended the E-Myth. And the E-Myth is all about one of the most common problems with small businesses is that you have these people who are go-getters, who have epiphanies, who have reasons, whys, goals, all this kinds of stuff, but they don't really have business knowledge. They're what Michael Gerber would call technicians. They're really good at, say, baking pies. They're doers. They're really good at baking pies, and they're like, hey, why am I baking pies for so-and-so when I could bake pies for me? Mm-hmm. And then they get into the business, and they forget that they don't need just pie makers. They need managers, and they need presidents of the company, and sales and payroll and bookkeepers and tax
janitors,
all that kind of stuff. And they start trying to do everything and forget that they need to level up. They started as a technician, but now it's their responsibility to level up to manager and hire technicians and to manage them. And then once you get good at that, you can replace. You want to work your way out of a job. So when you say, what do I like about inspections? I don't necessarily like inspections, but I do get energy from being around construction. dealing with banks, dealing with borrowers. If you've ever been around somebody who's building a house, they're freaking out all the time. So my mission statement for Longfellow Inspections is all about bringing peace of mind to our clients and our partners within the real estate industry. That's fun, dude. Like when I meet a borrower who's like, oh, you're the inspector, and they're all nervous, and I can just be like, hey man, my name's Josh. I'm here just to like essentially make sure everything is progressing correctly. Here's what I'll do. Here's when I'm going to be here. Here's how this is going to go, and you're going to be fine. Congratulations on your house. And immediately they're like, oh.
You give them peace of mind.
And juxtapose that with working for a large corporation, billion-dollar corporation, and if I were to do all of the stuff that I'm rewarded for when operating the small business and scaling it would either be criticized or ignored in a small corporation. And once I came to that realization, I was like, oh, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm not going.
Right.
Boom. So again, just to reiterate, the E-Myth is all about thinking about your business as a business and working on it, not just in it. So when you start it out, you have to wear all the hats.
So being a marketing consultant, one of the phrases we would throw around in my prior in a prior life was, our business is growing your business.
Yeah.
So the target demographic for small and medium businesses, especially in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for anyone that does marketing or sales as a consultant, as a rep, is just identifying people that are really good at building sheds, doing commercial roofing,
technicians,
being lawyers, technicians. But they're not people that are few and far between, that have the big picture sense of, okay, what are all the things that I need to be doing all at once to garner more attention on the internet in a positive way.
Yeah, you can acquire those skills, but it's rare.
But it is a mountain to do, and once you know how to do that for one industry, as a marketing consultant, they're just nuances upon industry. It's not like you get to reinvent the wheel.
You have the principles.
Okay, this wheel, instead of being 16 inches around, is now 21 inches around and has off-road tread. That's the difference. It's still a wheel.
It's like jiu-jitsu. Once you understand the principles, you can start connecting dots that weren't there before.
Yeah, I'm all about understanding concepts as opposed to collecting techniques.
And that's true in life too. That's not just
when I started wrestling 10 years old, it was all about I gotta have a stronger muscles and have a better gas tank and be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And then in middle school, it was I need to have these core techniques, and I'm just acquiring. It was almost like a linear progression in jiu-jitsu belts, it felt like. So elementary school was white belt, you're just learning, trying to muscle through everything. Middle school was acquiring all these techniques and still being
blue belt,
and just acquiring the vocabulary.
That's interesting.
And then in high school it progressed. Okay, well, who can get the black belt fastest? That's who's gonna be on the top of the podium. I think in high school I was probably like a 4-stripe purple brown.
Okay. And
I had an A game, but I didn't have some of the experience and like the killer instinct of some of the guys. So
it sounds like purple.
And I was always second or third place. In my senior year, I got second or third place at every single tournament. So I would go like 4-1, 5-1 at a tournament, and like the most matches. And I would tech people. Like after I would lose a match, like okay, pressure's off. I would tech the rest of the people through the league tournament.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like it was a mental thing, not a physical thing.
It was a mental thing, but I had an A game from neutral, on top, and on bottom. And then in college, it's just everyone's a black belt.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're gonna get dusted.
Figure it out.
You're gonna get dusted. So that's how that went, and then it completely restarts all over again doing jiu-jitsu because it's an entirely different goal. So the goal in wrestling is to dominate someone. The goal in jiu-jitsu is to control and submit someone. They're different things. Because to dominate someone just means basically like you're going to be, obviously you're going to be taking control, but you're going to be, I want your back, and then I want to make you count the lights. In jiu-jitsu, there's one way to really ultimately win in wrestling is pin someone. There's infinite ways to submit someone. But in jiu-jitsu,
and pinning is just a part of it. I'm going to pin you and make you suffer, and then you're going to give me an arm or a neck.
And you could be winning for 9 minutes in a row, but I can throw up a triangle and you're done in 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's we can. Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
So that to me is why jiu-jitsu is infinitely more interesting, is because there's so much more possibilities. And in wrestling, I was a 157 pounder, probably my most successful. And I was, just lean, mean fighting machine.
That's money weight right there.
That was good.
Yeah.
But no one at 120, I was not like, 125 pounder, oh my God. Now, I'm 195 pounds, and there's people that are 135, 140 that give me fits and can probably kill me.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu. And that's the
100%.
difference.
Yeah.
So, when I wanted to ask you this, you're talking about your epiphany before, and your rock bottom. When did you start doing jiu-jitsu? Was it around the same time?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I give credit. I would I preach about jiu-jitsu because it wasn't the catalyst that gave me the epiphany, but it was the first decision I made in my life that led me down that path. And it's for people who don't train, and probably most of your listeners at least flirt with it, or I don't know.
Hopefully they're at least familiar, because I've been posting a ton of it.
For sure, yeah. It's different than just a martial art. When you hear martial arts, right? Traditionally in America, you think of like the striking traditional martial arts, karate, taekwondo.
They're fast as lightning.
100%. Yeah, which drives me nuts. It's not that. This is truly a martial art because it's infinite. If you think about a paintbrush and oils and a canvas, it's art because it's infinite. There's infinite expression.
There's 5 strings in a guitar, but they can make infinite sounds.
Infinite sounds. Think about how many guitar solos there are. They're not the same.
They're all different. Even when they're played by the same person at different times, it sounds different.
It's different. Yeah, you listen to Gary Clark Jr., he'll play a riff from like a Led Zeppelin song, and it sounds like Gary Clark Jr. You're like, what?
It's not,
It's the same notes. Right. What is going on here? Yeah, it's weird. I forget where the heck I was going with that. Where was I going with that? What was the question?
We were drawing a parallel between the martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and and your epiphany.
You asked if jiu-jitsu helped with, or was around the same time as the epiphany, and it was the first decision I made that led me towards the epiphany. And the reason, one of the million reasons that it's been so important to me is I was growing up. Again, I'm trying not to go on these like long rants, but these are deeper answers than you're asking good questions, so I have to go deeper than just a yes or no.
Sure. No, go ahead.
Growing up, I was the youngest of 3 boys, and the other 2 had issues. Not necessarily like they weren't retarded or anything. They were always essentially causing stress on the family or the parents.
Sure.
So one of the things I have 3 kids. I read about parenting a lot, and one of the things that shapes your personality growing up is as you enter the world, you look around instinctively as a child and look and identify what is already present in the family, what is already present in the household, and then you fill a gap. It's not competitive. It's like, this is the extrovert, he's the party dude, this is the really smart guy, okay, I'm going to be the athletic guy.
Yeah.
Babies will naturally pick that. That's why they're all freaking different. Think about the groups of big families that they're all very different. Okay. And that's one of the theories is as you grow up in the family, you start filling gaps that aren't represented.
Okay.
One of the gaps that I filled was my brothers had troubles. I knew I had to keep my shit together for the sake of the family and for the sake of the mental health of my parents. I didn't know that I didn't know that consciously. Sure. I just kind of acted out that way. So what that resulted to, for the majority of my life until that epiphany, was I was a jack of all trades, master of none.
Okay.
I always had all these plates spinning, and they all spun perfectly. They all spun well enough.
Sure.
But I never mastered anything. I wasn't a black belt in anything. And then I'm physically inclined. So if you read the 7 Habits, my spirit typically wants to exhibit itself physically. So I like fighting people. Mm-hmm. I like having sex. I like doing things with my body. Right? Physical expression of what's inside. So when I found jiu-jitsu and saw the path in a physical form towards mastery, it clicked.
So, it may have been Hickson Gracie had the quote that said...
Does that make sense?
Dude, okay. So much sense.
All right, cool.
He said something like, Look, jiu-jitsu, or Renzo Gracie said this, jiu-jitsu isn't just an activity I do, it's a way I solve all the problems in life and approach everything in life.
100%.
So, like, when I look at something, I'm like, all right, well, how do I dissect this in order to master it so that I can obtain the end result? Like, whenever I do a marketing problem, I'm like, all right, well, the end goal is this, and then I'm going to reverse engineer this.
What you just said can be applied to anything.
But can be applied to anything. It's a way to solve problems. Yep. And, like, a way to master, your own. I'll reference a prior point you said in your walk of doom, how you have to, subvert your emotions, control them. Yeah. A lot of it's breathing, to control your breathing, so you can control your stress levels. But, like, doing management, like project management, people management, sales, anything like that, you have to own the situation. At least you're part in it. Yeah. And if you do that well enough, it's probably going to end up all right. Yeah. So jiu-jitsu has helped me be a manager exponentially. Jiu-jitsu has helped me be and I'm already naturally inclined to be an extrovert, but to be a more refined extrovert and to say, okay, well, here's like the point of this consultation. I'm not going to waste your time. Like, we have an hour. Yeah. Like, I'm going to spend, we're going to spend this much time. And this is something I kind of have to take a mental note of to build rapport. We're going to spend this much time, going to do some discovery, and then after I understand, we're going to do some ideation. I'm going to have a better understanding so that you can give me positive feedback. Then we're going to give, we're going to come to an agreement, micro agreement, and then we're going to come up with a schedule and next steps. And then it's going to be a great conclusion or recap. Yeah. And that's a meeting. But some people just say, oh, well, I could sell ice to an Eskimo. Okay, how? Yeah. Like, if you can't tell me how, then I don't really believe.
Get out. Yeah, you're out. Yeah.
But that to me is jiu-jitsu applied across all.
For sure.
But it's funny that as soon as you, I know this is my perception of it, is that when you make the decision to do self-mastery, to build your own dream, to build your own business, you also simultaneously, whether before or after, started doing self-mastery physically with jiu-jitsu.
That came first. That opened the door. Again, I told you about, like, I wanted to open doors now and walk through ones that I normally would close. That was what got me there. That I didn't know. There's a book that I highly recommend everybody by Carol Dweck called Mindset. And it's all about a growth versus a fixed mindset.
Sure.
And I would encourage you to test this on people that you know or don't know. If you listen to how they talk and the words they use, because words have power, if you listen to how they talk about themselves, they will tell you if they're growth-minded or fixed-minded. And the definition of those is fixed mindset is you think you are inherently this. You have these personality traits. I'm introverted, so I will never be good at public speaking. The growth mindset is I'm naturally introverted. I'm not good at public speaking today.
Not yet.
Yeah. And then the path towards acquiring that skill is, for me, is you model, right? You find somebody who's crushing it. I'm trying not to curse.
Sure.
Intensity magnifiers. You find somebody who crushes it at public speaking, if we're going to keep going with that example, and you model their behavior, because success leaves clues. It's a science. It's not... You don't have to make this shit up anymore. That's why I'm 100% confident in my business. And maybe this business will fail tomorrow. I don't care. I will start one the next day. I don't care.
I don't believe in failure as being a final judgment. It's always a temporary thing.
It's the growth mindset.
If you don't fail, then that means you don't try. And if you don't try, you'll never succeed.
100%.
Like, let's say that you have a sales appointment for your new business, and you're like... you did everything you can to prepare, but you don't get the close. Yeah. Woe is me, I'm going to go out of business. No.
You just
say, what happened here? You identify what happened, and you say, okay, next.
What is that, like an after action review or whatever, where you ask yourself, what did I do well? What would I do differently next time?
Plan, do, review, revise. It's like a feedback loop.
Yep, 100%.
But it's a wheel. That's how the wheel spins.
Yeah.
You have to have a plan, you have to execute the plan, you have to review the plan, and then you gotta make an improvement, and then keep going.
Dude, I feel like the title of this podcast should be like corny shit that actually works.
Hey, we're children of the corn.
Back to the corny stuff. Dude, I had a meeting with this bank, a potential client, that I really wanted to close on, and it was like the last meeting. I had worked for several months to get in the door, and I finally get in the door with the second in command who's preparing to take the CEO job of this huge bank in the Maryland, Delaware area. And I'm nervous, right? I find out I get the meeting a week out and I'm nervous. And in my younger years, I would be like, oh, the nerves would scare me into inaction.
Sure.
Now when I'm nervous, I'm like, woo, excited. Let's go, son.
Yes.
Because I know a path forward. Now I know how to deal with the nerves. I know action cures anxiety every fucking time.
Right.
So as soon as I get nervous and anxious, I'm like, cool, what action do I need to take? That's a good question, right? Okay, I need to prepare for this meeting. I need to know what I'm talking about. So I start like checking out the business itself, and then I cascade down who's in charge. Then I check out who I'm gonna, all that kind of stuff, right? So then I'm driving up to the bank, the location. It's the day of. I'm all suited up. I look great. I'm nervous again. And I was like, oh, I'm nervous again. How do I deal with this? And now I'm training myself on the skill of seeking challenge.
Sure.
As opposed to going away from challenge, because I know the challenge yields positive results and growth.
So I think that there is an inert property to anxiety where it really is on how you look at it. It's 100%. Either fear or excitement, but that you decide which one it is.
Yep.
So
it's both. You pick.
So you pick, because it's sort of latent.
Yeah, 100%.
You push in the right direction.
Yeah. So the way I dealt with that, and I use this for everything now, is I visualize. And dude, we grew up. We're meatheads, right?
Sure.
We grew
Whoa. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm 5'8", 200 pounds of meat.
For sure. We grew up idolizing athletes, right?
Sure.
How many times did you listen to an athlete be interviewed and they're like, oh man, the secret of my success was I visualized it, I set goals. They always say visualization. They always do it. Always. How many MMA fighters right now have mental coaches?
I did a wrestling camp called J-Rob. He was the head coach of Minnesota Golden Gophers. He won a national championship the year before I went. And the guy was like a U.S. Army Ranger. Big, just a high-achieving guy.
Yeah.
Badass. Yeah. And at the end of every day, our duty was to lay there exhausted after doing 4 workouts from 6 in the morning until about 8 p.m.
You're spent.
And just visualize. And we would just do like neuro-linguistic programming. Like just say, words have power. Just repeating kind of mantras.
You're being programmed regardless.
You have to program yourself.
You might as well do it yourself.
Yeah. You have to program yourself.
Or let Pepsi do it or whatever. Like pick.
Yeah.
Or Facebook.
Sell or be sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Corny line works though.
I get it. Corny shit works. I forget what the heck we were talking about, but it was good.
But yeah, so who do you model after for jiu-jitsu? Because I know for me, like, dude, okay, so in college I modeled after Ben Askren.
Why?
Because he had the most fun wrestling, and I was having problems having fun. Oh. And I wanted to fix that. It was just too stressful for me, and he was just like the master of funk.
Yeah.
And he was having fun again, and he was doing all these crazy moves, and they were working. And he had a dad bod, and he didn't give a shit.
Yep.
He wasn't someone that was just a bodybuilder that wrestles. He was someone that was a wrestler who enjoyed it.
For those who don't know, Ben Askren isn't a powerful looking dude or a powerful wrestler. What he does is just flows and sweeps dudes and like just reverses dudes. Like he's just.
The other person I followed was Frank Molinaro from Penn State.
Never heard.
Because he was I think he's like 5'5". He's a shorter, stocky guy. Yeah. But the guy was just his nickname was Gorilla Hulk, and he was just yoked to the gills and could just body people. Yeah. And he was just. And his style was kind of similar to mine, but like to the extreme. Yeah. And but they're opposite wrestlers. Ben Askren and Frank Molinaro are not at all equal. So I say, okay, if I can take the good from both, I'm gonna get better.
Oh yeah, and that's unique. That's unique to you.
And I look at the same way for business too.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Yep. It's the same thing. So you asked who I model for jiu-jitsu?
Sure.
I kind of do a similar approach to you. I model guys who have a similar physical frame. So I model Marcelo Garcia. Mm-hmm. He was probably the first one. And then I also model temperament. So I believe I have a similar view of jiu-jitsu that Rafa Mendes does.
Okay. Where
you watch him roll and it's beautiful. And he's just filling gaps and just kind of go. It's kind of like I was talking to one of the guys we trained with today about Jordan Burroughs' double. Mm-hmm. This is a side note, but you know Jordan Burroughs is super explosive.
You just can't stop it.
For sure. But when you see him double, it doesn't look explosive. It looks like he's just flowing. It's like, whoa, it's just beautiful, right? that's Rafa Mendes does that for everything.
Sure.
Everything he does is just in and out and flowing. He's dancing with you. It's freaking beautiful. So I model that primarily with the frame of Marcelo Garcia, and I try to mend those two, kind of like similar to your approach.
It's interesting.
Those are my main two guys.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm leaning to what. I don't want to screw with the leg locks too much because right now I'm still focused on the back and finishing from there. I can control there and get there a lot, but I really want to get my finishes to a black belt level before I go on to leg locks, which will be my third person in that trifecta or that mastermind. I want to model a thick leg locker, like Dean Lister or something like that.
Sure.
Because I want to add that
Dean
in.
Lister and Tom DeBlas is a big
Tom DeBlas, Paul Harris.
Yeah.
Thick leg lockers, I want those.
Yeah, I'm down for thickness. Andre Galvao is a guy I like to watch film on. I don't necessarily think I model him. You made a good, important delineation between physical attributes and mental attributes. The mental attributes right now I'm modeling is Crone Gracie. Because to me, he's just a fucking samurai.
Sure, 100%.
I think that the way he lives life and approaches life is just, if I could walk into any situation with that same sort of mental integrity, it's good. Whatever happens is good.
What do you think the approach is? It's like, it's a warrior lifestyle, but it's more like seeking hardship almost, right?
It's a warrior lifestyle, but it's just like it's the way to master yourself the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched everything on his YouTube channel and just been doing research, and it's just like, okay, I don't look like this guy. I'm not built like this guy. He's 5'9", fights at 145, and walks around at like 165, 60, and just hella lean. Like super lean, sinewy, and like a triathlete. But like, what are the principles that are underlying? And it's like, master your breathing, master inflammation. Like, don't be inflamed. Like, literally just recover so well.
100%.
And like, when you're using food, like, it is fuel, and like, you don't want to. It's like the same thing as your phone battery, right? Like, you pretty much don't charge your phone until it's in the red. So like, don't eat lots of food until like you're hungry.
Yeah, he's and mastering the beast.
Yeah, and it's just like he's in control. He's in the driver's seat. Yeah. And as far as like a technique, like, I don't necessarily have that yet, because where I'm
go-to technique, or what are you talking about?
Like, as far as like a physical person I'm trying to model after, I don't necessarily have an answer for that, because I went from 225, 228.
You're in flux.
And I fought at 155, so like, I literally like don't know who that person would be yet. Okay. So I look at who I would like to look like, and it's Marcelo Garcia. He's a welterweight, 170.
I was gonna say, what's your goal weight?
170.
Okay.
And walk at 180, 85. And
Marcelo's probably your frame.
Compete at 70. He's 5'8". He's got tree trunk legs. I have tree trunk legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the ideal goal, and that's okay. It's all about projecting forward.
Yeah.
You set a goal. If you don't get the exact goal, you're closer in the right direction. You're gonna be landing somewhere darn close.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to wrap it back into the business, I mean, the first opportunity that I saw opened, that smart dude that I talked about earlier, Matt Gladhill, he said he started a general inspection. This is how crazy this guy is and how smart. He started a general home inspection business, which essentially is when you go to buy a house, right? You want to make sure you're not getting a lemon, so you hire a general inspector. He started a business, had the entire business plan, had people like getting ready to go in motion, had all his capital, everything. And before he pulled the trigger, he was like, I don't really want to, and just put it away. This guy did that like 6 or 7 times, 6 or 7 different businesses, right? So we were talking about how he's been struggling with taking action. He lives up here. So once he creates it up here, he gets disinterested in creating it in reality.
Sure.
Right? So he saw me, and all I was looking for was something to create in reality. I just didn't know what. That was the opportunity. I was like, are you going to use that whole folder you got there of like all this pristine information? He had an operations manual. He had an organizational hierarchy. He had the whole plan. He had the whole thing planned out for the next 20 years.
Sure.
And I was like, you're going to use that? He's like, no. I was like, can I use it? Yeah. He was like, sure. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Within 4 months, I had a general inspection certificate and was a certified professional inspector. Had my first inspection paid paid, I think a month after.
That first time you get paid to do your dream, like, it's a crazy feeling.
But here's the deal. You're right, 100%. Here's the deal. And this is why I brought up, it wasn't my dream. After I did about a year of that, I was like, I'm not there. I'm creating a job that's almost worse than what I already had. I was like, what's going on here? But because I was already taking action in the right place, I had that realization, and I was creating I was networking, creating all these relationships. I get a phone call after I had that realization. I get a phone call from a lender that I had met with willy-nilly. He was like, hey, do you know anything about draw inspections? I was like, yeah, 100%. I had no idea. I'm Googling at the same time. And he's like, cool, because one of the VPs of our company wants to talk to you about doing them for our company. And I was like, I'm talking to myself like, I don't know what the hell that is. Googling. I was like, oh, I know what that is. I started doing all this research. He was like, cool, we have a conversation scheduled with you on like Tuesday. It was like a week later or something.
Right.
Prepared for it. Crushed it. That's my business now. Just because I was looking for opportunity.
You filled the need.
I just started. Just start.
You filled in.
Just start. Just do something. Do anything. Identify. I acknowledge that you are not where you want to be ideally.
So is that your last parting piece of wisdom? Is just start? Has that like if you had to say one thing you've learned in the last 3 years from your epiphany?
No, it's not just
30
start.
seconds.
It's not just start.
It's what would it be on the spot? Total pressure. All the pressures right now.
Yeah, it would be to have a life mission. Have a life mission that will carry you through, because what you need is fuel. You are going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to fall down, and what will separate you from the pack, from the sheeple, is if you have a mission that will lift you up for you. You don't have to do it anymore. To give an example, real life example, I can't stop doing what I'm doing. I work 16-hour days. I wake up at 5. I go to sleep around like 11.
Right.
And I'm on it. I'm on every day, on every hour. Yeah. Literally to the point where I have 3 kids and a wife and a business that I'm growing. I have to plan every minute. Literally, people don't believe me. I literally plan every minute. And I do strategic planning on Sundays for the week. That's every Sunday. On the 1st of every month, I do strategic planning for the entire month. Every quarter, I do strategic planning for that quarter. And then every year, on the 1st, on New Year's Day, when everybody's hungover, I'm sipping coffee and sauerkraut and planning my year. And that's all cascaded down.
Back. Last question was, from break to now was, what's the one piece of advice? You said have a mission. You went into strategic planning, and I'm telling you, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm excited to hear more about this.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how do you do strategic planning? How do you approach time management? How do you approach potential optimization?
Yeah. The advice would be to have a life mission, and the reason for that is because that's you hear all this corny shit from people on TV that are successful people that have money, and they're like, you need to just wake up and be excited about your day every day. It's like, okay, what's the practical steps to get there? How do I become excited if I'm just working in the factory and I hate it?
Yeah.
And the practical way is to sit down and visualize what you want to create, right? If do a gap analysis between where you are and where you want to be. And people are always like, but I don't know what I want to be. Cool. Read 2 books. Think and Grow Rich and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Sure.
If you haven't read those and you still don't know what you want to do, I don't know what to help you. Read those fucking books.
Yeah. Step 1, that's your homework.
Read those books. That's your homework.
I agree. I Think and Grow. I'm guilty with being 3.5 steps into the 7 Steps by Stephen Covey.
Sure.
I read half of it, and
7 Habits. Yeah.
7 Habits. That's right.
Yeah.
I have it bookmarked, but Think and Grow Rich I read twice, 3 times.
You have to read that book. You have to read those books. I think it's chapter 2 in Think and Grow Rich. It's a step-by-step instruction. It's a step-by-step instruction of how to write a life plan and how to find what you want. Dude, I read that chapter and wrote for 3 hours. I couldn't stop writing. It was 2 in the morning. My wife was making fun of me. I couldn't stop. I'm telling you, just please read that book with the intention of changing your life and improving it, and it will happen. So that you have a life mission because it's the thing that it's going to fuel you. It directs your life, and especially from a masculine perspective, from a man, we need something to go conquer.
Right.
And a life mission is a clear thing that you will go conquer. And
it's the most important thing to conquer because you derive it.
You create it.
You gave it the value.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a conscious thing. It's not a subconscious, urge. It's not like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go eat.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm horny, I'm going to go find something to go take care of that. No. This is, your pie in the sky. This is, your heaven on earth. If I obtain
What's ideal? Don't be realistic. What's ideal?
Right. And do 10 times more than you think you need to acquire that.
And you will get it.
You will get damn close. Or you're going to realize this might not be it.
Wasn't big enough.
But I learned so much.
100%.
Now you have a better idea.
Yep.
Real quick. Analysis paralysis. People think too much without doing enough.
100%.
Writing is an action.
Yeah. Get to the minimal viable product. Get to the MVP. Make it 80% good, the plan, and then fucking go.
And then ask yourself, how does this plan fit into with my spirituality? Yeah. Everyone has some form of spirituality.
100%. We all worship something. We all worship.
Then you worship science, then you worship nihilism, whatever the hell you worship.
It's built in.
You choose what you worship. Yeah. Okay, so spirituality, relationships,
physicality.
Vocation, physicality, and I guess the last one's like emotional or like fun.
Mindset.
Yeah, mindset. So you have these 5 different things, but make sure they're all addressed in your mission, because one of my biggest regrets was I only focused on sports for so long, and then other things suffered, and then sports suffered because of that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the best athletes are always multi-sport athletes.
Sure, Michael Jordan.
Freaking Lomachenko, if you watch boxing,
yeah,
the best boxer on the planet right now, and his dad took him out of boxing for like 6 years so that he could learn traditional dance.
Wow.
For the purpose of improving footwork. And then he comes back, and what's his secret weapon? Footwork. He teleports behind these dudes. It's weird.
And you look at, up and coming Bellator fighter Aaron Pico.
Yeah.
He could have been on the Olympic team for wrestling. Yeah. Would have been a Division I national champion in wrestling.
Yeah.
Starching dudes with a left hook in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Has got hands for days, so he's doing MMA. I mean...
Yeah, but back to life mission.
Yeah, yes. Thought.
There's so many benefits of having a life mission, particularly from a manly perspective or a masculine perspective. But one of the biggest ones is it will give you something to be intentional about. It increases your intentionality, and when you increase your intentionality, you increase the probability of you creating what you want to create in your life.
Sure.
Right? So you have this life mission. I literally write mine out every day because, like you said earlier.
So what is it? What is your life? What is life mission?
I'll read it right now. Boom. My life mission. I read it every single day. For Friday, June 21st, 2019. Life mission: I will continue to reach for my maximum God-given potential in pursuit of the following. There's 3 things here. These are my pillars of my life mission. 1 is freedom of choice. 2 is peace of mind. 3 is inspiration and expansion. The definition of freedom of choice, because you can't have these vague concepts.
Sure.
I don't know what freedom of choice is. For you, it could be way different than what it is for me. For me, it is the ability to spend my time however and with whomever I want. And then I have examples of what that means for me so I can tie that to an emotion. Sure. I'm not fucking around.
So you can make it real.
Yeah, it's real. Like, this shit is real. Right? So the examples I have are annual trips with my entire family, because one of the things I read recently, I think it was from Tim Ferriss, was after you leave your household, when you're 18 or whatever, you leave your household, you have spent 80% of the time you will ever spend with your parents. It's over.
Wow.
It's over. Think about it. Right? I listened to that, or I read that, and I was like, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. How do we rectify that? Okay, cool. We need to do like at least annual vacations and have monthly potlucks. We need to get together. We need to be
intentionally get together.
Intentional, and it's because of the freaking life mission, right? Mm-hmm. And that another thing you mentioned those 5 areas or 6 areas, whatever they are, and how important it is to address all of them. I think it's more important, as important as it is to address all of them. It's equally important to intertwine them and make them integrated with each other.
Sure.
Right? So the example I have for freedom of choice is annual trips with the entire family, and what I want to do and how I visualize that is I pay for everything. Like, just get a week off of vacation, I pay for everything. Where do you guys want to go? We pick this every year. You guys want to go to Europe this year? Cool, well, let's go. Mm-hmm. so that I can free them up and we can just chill when we're there and just enjoy each other. And I'm thinking about who's paying for what and how much it is to get to Italy or whatever. It's just, let's just go, right? In order to do that, I need finances, hence the business. Hence why I created a real estate investment business with my best friend and business partner that we don't need to get into now. But so that's one of the examples for freedom of choice. Just to move along quickly. The second pillar, if you remember, was peace of mind. My definition of peace of mind is, for me, is fulfilling my roles as husband, father, leader, protector, and provider.
Right.
If I can do that, if I can take care of...
Then you can sleep like a baby.
Then I have peace of mind.
Yeah.
If I'm being a father and being a husband and being a protector and a provider and a leader in my community, we're good. We good, baby. We good. Right?
Yeah,
I have peace of mind. The examples of that are helping my wife to pursue her own life mission. Because that's one of the things, if you're married or if you have a significant other, is you are going to affect them. Make sure you're affecting them positively.
Sure. You're going to affect them somehow.
100%.
Whether you want to or not, it's going to happen.
And in this pursuit, because I'm so damn hungry and I have a life mission, and this is the first time in my life, I'm 30, it's the first time in my life I know where I'm going.
Sure.
I'm expediting results, right? So I noticed once I had that epiphany and had the life mission and started building all these things, I realized I was distancing myself from my loved ones because they didn't have it.
Sure.
And I was like, oh,
but as
a leader, it's my responsibility.
Show the path.
If I believe in it so much so, and it's improving my life, it's my duty and obligation to share it with her. So now she has a life mission. And part of peace of mind is helping her pursue that. The next one is eliminating our debt. If I can eliminate all of our debt, massive weight off our shoulders. I mean,
of course,
everyone has student debt now. If you can get rid of that, you should, because then you can use that money for investments, whatever.
Yep.
Third and final pillar is inspiration and expansion. I am naturally an introvert. I want to stay internal. I don't want to... It takes energy for me to go and speak to people.
Sure.
But I know that most opportunities come from relationships. If I'm not actively and intentionally creating relationships with people that I want to be around, which is tied to freedom of choice, then I'm not doing what I was put on this earth to do. I'm not maximizing my God-given potential. Right? So inspiration and expansion is helping family, friends, and strangers to reach for their maximum potential. Again, bringing everybody with me. I don't want to be lonely. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Right? Examples of that are teaching, mentoring, public speaking, all that kind of stuff. Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. If I have something to share, please take one nugget. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
So that right there is my life mission. I write that sucker every single day, dude. And again, just to reiterate, my life mission, I want to be very clear because this is special for me. The beginning of it is I will continue to reach for my maximum God-given potential in pursuit of the following, right? Freedom of choice, peace of mind, inspiration, expansion. Really what that means in a nutshell is, again, I'm a Christian, right? When I get to Judgment Day and God is showing me what I created on this planet, I visualize like a scenario where he shows me a version of myself that he intended me to be, and then he shows me myself what I actually became. I want those two people to be the same.
Right.
Or as close to each other as possible. Because my nightmare, my ultimate regret would be to get there, looking at God, looking at who I could have been, and I don't recognize that person.
The scariest, this isn't a corny quote, but I love it. The scariest person on earth is the person you could have been.
Dude.
Right?
Ooh, I just got goosebumps.
No, it's true though.
Think about that.
Dude, the biggest regret I have is not in the things that I did. I don't regret any of the things I did. I just regret the things I did not do.
100%.
I'm like, man, I could have just done.
But you're still in your 20s. You have time to rectify it.
But like,
yeah, dude.
Because I'll tell you what. My grandparents are 89 and 87. I pray that I'm correct. I'm almost positive I'm correct.
Yeah, no worries.
With their ages.
No judgment.
But dude, visiting them is going to Willow Valley Retirement Community is the single greatest motivating factor. Because both my grandparents, first of all, they lived life. They did it well.
They did it.
My grandfather was a farm boy from Iowa with a town of 200 people. He graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy, went to Top Gun school, got an MBA in Chicago.
Dang.
And like by 38 managed 500 people.
Dang, so right now he's running on fumes. Like
so right now he is just...
He left it all on the field.
He's there and back again.
That's sick.
So he's done it all. And like, he's still, I talk about business with him, he still lights up and he's going, like sharp.
He's going, yeah.
And he gives great advice. His great advice was tell the truth, don't take shit, and give them hell. And those are not necessarily my life mission, but that's kind of plays in my head.
Yeah, you get it.
So I'm like, all right, if I do that in everything, I'm not going to regret a damn thing.
For sure.
And you know, my grandmother, she's my favorite person on earth. But I look at them and I'm just like, you guys don't really like regret. Like they're still so active. Like you're still like.
It's good, man.
I mean, Willow Valley, you just look around and you're like, man, everyone here is like this is the finish line. Like this is where they're
waiting to die. Yeah.
Like that's where, like, you know what I mean.
It's like that waiting room in Beetlejuice, and he's just sitting there, and you got the small head dude and all these weirdos.
For sure,
just waiting.
And I'm just like, look, like I don't want to regret a single fucking thing.
Yeah.
I don't. I want to squeeze the juice, all the juice out of it, out of the fruit of life that you possibly can.
Yo, and it goes back to stoicism, right? Where like,
sure.
What is it? Memento mori. You are going to die.
Yeah. And
you're gonna die.
And amor fati, which is love of fate.
Yeah, yeah.
So you better fucking love it.
Yeah, you're going to die, bro. Like you're going to die. Everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's exciting.
It's mad exciting.
Dude,
and it should increase your urgency.
I've had near-death experiences where like I very easily could have died, and after every single one, I started hustling, changing things in different perspective.
Yeah, of course.
And like my rock bottom, a lot lower than yours.
Yeah.
But I hit it, and I'm so thankful that I did.
Sure.
Because if I didn't, I would have accomplished like zero of the things I wanted to.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's beautiful.
But
did we talk about strategic planning?
So strategic planning, we talked about it a little bit. It might have cut off in between our break.
Right.
But what I really wanted, so as a manager and as a coach for wrestling and as just an older brother, I've always had to say, okay, here's the plan, here's what we're going to do. Kind of take a little bit of a leadership position there.
Sure.
And most recently, I was tasked with coming up with digital marketing strategies for all these clients. And that means that here's what happened the last 90 days. Because of this, here's what's going to happen the next 90 days.
Okay.
But I also, for my own personal plans, I'm going to 40. I'm saying, all right, 40 is my next like year milestone. It's 11 years of doing shit. Here's where I want to be at 40. And I made it a habit to do weekly schedules. But I want to get, I want to hear what you're doing and with your notebook, how you're approaching strategic planning.
Yeah, so again, back to the importance of a life mission, it becomes your roadmap for life. So now when I sit down to do strategic planning, that might be overwhelming for most people. Where they're like, I have to plan my whole life, my whole year? That's a lot. It's like, for sure, but you break it down. Back to corny statements that we're going to keep repeating. You eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? So break it down in actionable steps. Where do you want to go? Life mission. What do I have to do this year to get closer to that life mission? Just that can be one thing or one set of goals or 5, whatever the heck it is. And then you start breaking it down even further. Okay, what about this quarter? What would be my main objective? How would I get that objective? And is it in line with my life mission? So I do that every year, right? Where my life mission encompasses the next 15 years.
Sure.
That's kind of where I intentionally want to reset, and I would have achieved all my goals. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now where am I going? Now where do I level up? So I break it down. I start with the life mission. I cascade down, beginning with the year. Then I break it down to the quarter. Then I break it down to the month, and then the week. So now when I wake up, I'm excited. If I wasn't exhausted from working too much the night before, I'm excited because my day's already planned.
Sure.
I did it. I don't have to think about it. Which increases my effectiveness, increases my efficiency, my productivity, which allows me to make 35 phone calls in 3 hours or whatever because I don't have to think about it. I thought about it on Sunday. Now I can execute. I'm free to execute. And when you're in the startup phase in any business, you got to execute a lot.
Sure.
You're executing on. I'm wearing 12 different hats right now. I just put them on and off all day. And it's okay because I had enough time when working at that previous job to work on the business. Now I'm working in the business.
Sure. 100%. So
I can get into more practical steps on how I exactly do like my weekly planning if you want to, or whatever. But
I mean, so you're saying you don't waste a single minute, and you're doing 5 a.m. 11 p.m.
Yeah. So I almost get frustrated when people aren't doing the same kind of planning, where I'll try to meet with somebody and they'll just forget that we had a meeting. And I'm like, whoa.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, you don't fuck with my time, bro. Like, I had to move things around.
That's the one resource you can't get more of.
I had to get here. And I used to get really mad, but now I see it as an opportunity to get better, or like, what is the good in this scenario? It's the obstacle goes away. What did this free me up to do now?
Right.
But yeah, I get frustrated, and then I remember, I'm like, oh, they're not necessarily on the same path. They're not necessarily doing the same thing. I'm doing a lot. Like, I'm hustling. Sure. And I just can't at this point. Like, I've rewired my brain where I can't stop. I honestly don't know how else to say that. I'm not being braggadocious. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. I copy from people who are more successful than I am.
Sure.
I just do what they do, and I have I have dealt with myself and built my confidence up enough where I'm not fearful anymore. So I'm like, that guy did it. He doesn't seem like a genius. I'm pretty sure I could do that. Let's fucking go.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So that's my approach to strategic planning.
100%, man. And what is strategy other than strategy is high level decision making? I mean, chess, strategy game. At every junction, there's infinite possible moves.
Yeah.
It's not like you're playing. It's not like you're going for a run. Mm-hmm. There's not really a strategy necessarily to run. I'm sure there is with pacing and whatnot, but the obstacle for running is you get from point A to point B on your 2 feet with your shoes tied as fast as you can. Mm-hmm. But like strategy for chess is, or jiu-jitsu is, I need to checkmate this king. I need to submit this person.
Yeah.
For business owners, I need to achieve these business goals and keep the lights on and thrive and make a return profit.
Yeah.
There's infinite ways, but you have to have a plan.
You have to.
The best plan gets destroyed by a plan executed excellently.
Yeah. Yeah, just any plan. Just execute it. Create a plan, again, 80%, and then fucking, you gotta go. Just go. You gotta go. You have to. It's gonna be super scary because you haven't built up the muscles.
Sure.
But once you get punched and you're like, well, that wasn't that hard. And then you come back and you're like, oh, cool, I can take a punch now. Cool. Oh, now I'm punching. Now I'm on offense. Oh, this is cool. I'm at to the point now where I so believe in, like, essentially all this Tony Robbins shit. I don't know how else to quantify it, but like, it's self-development things and pursuing the best version of yourself. I'm so in, dude. Now I'm on to the point of like manifestation, of like, what does that look like, and screwing around with that and how that works, because it all comes back to action. But you can program your mind to enter into a meeting that you're nervous about and crush it.
Sure.
It just with visualization and preparation and with meditation on the goal. And again, if you have that life mission,
Stoicism basically says there's two things: that which you can control and that which you can't control.
Yeah.
And that which you can control, make sure that everything within your willpower you do.
100%. And
everything you cannot control, make sure that you do everything you can to ignore.
Yeah. That will give you peace.
Ignore.
That's immediate peace. When that peace is important because it
don't fear it.
Gives you the capacity to be productive.
Dude, I couldn't agree more, and so much of it is just simply saying, look, I have X amount of heartbeats, I have X amount of watts that my body can, exude throughout a lifetime. How will I use that? Another QWERTY analogy: you take a steel bar, it's worth $100 for a kilogram of steel. Throw numbers around, but
you threw a kilogram in there.
Why not? You take that kilogram and you cut the steel bar up into smaller pieces. You can sell each one of those.
Sure.
Now it becomes worth $400.
Yeah.
But you take that same thing and you turn it into springs for watches. Now it's worth $100,000. Mm. So it's really the same raw material, but how do you shape that raw material?
How do you process it? Yeah.
Which is time, which we all have the same amount of minutes in a day and hours in a day.
100%.
We all have that raw material of time and attention. And how do you make that into not the most profitable thing necessarily, but the most intrinsically valuable thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So
yeah, I watched, and we can wrap this up because I know we're getting to the end. I keep bringing up Tony Robbins, but there's a reason. I mean, the guys who presidents call when they have an issue, like, it's kind of a guy you want to listen to. But they asked him recently because he just hit $1 billion net worth, and they were like, "You've done this, you've done that." They go down his resume. You've done all these amazing things. You've helped out millions of people. What is your challenge now? And he's like, time. Like, I have all these things that I want to do, and I'm so efficient at doing all this stuff. I can't fit in what I want to fit in because we're limited. We all have we all have the
same limit.
Same limit. He's like, that's my limit. Is I'm 60 years old and I want to crush all these things. I don't know if I can fit them in. And I'm like, dang, son. You got to think, like, those people who are pursuing mastery, to put a button on this motherfucker. Those people who are pursuing mastery. This guy's pursued mastery on such a high level, like, and coached other people on how to do it. And he's mastering the science of success and the art of fulfillment. And he's done it, son. Like, he's helped millions of people. I think he fed like 100 million people last year with the proceeds from his books. And like, he's coached presidents, and like, he's a billionaire, all this kind of stuff. He's done it. And now he's like, dude, I just need more time. I need more time.
Well, with that, I think it's been a good time. Good time well spent just chatting with you, man.
For sure.
Plug your business name again.
Yeah, the business is Longfellow Inspections. I partner with banks, lenders, mortgage lenders. We do the best job on the planet, honestly.
Jiu-Jitsu purple belt.
Jiu-Jitsu purple
family man, strategic planner, entrepreneur, all-around badass.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It was a pleasure having you on, Josh.
Thanks, man. Thanks, brother. Thanks.
Good times.
Yeah, man.
And we'll roll again soon, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's fun, dude.
Dude, that was my richest content yet. That was the best one.
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for.
I think so.